Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to CFES Brilliant Pathways ongoing college virtual tours. Very excited about today's tour. We have St. Lawrence University, and we have a guest that I've just recently gotten to know and who's been in admissions for quite some time. Florence Hines is Vice President for Enrollment Management and Dean of Admissions and Financial Aid. A lot there. This is a school that a lot of our schools across upstate New York, a university rather, that it comes up often. I think there's a lot of intrigue in it. And I think today will be really good opportunity to hear about what it's really like there. I grew up in Vermont, and I recall a number of students in my own class and across the state that ended up going there and really liked it, very passionate about it. So I will not continue much longer because Florence has a lot of good stuff to say, and we'll open it up toward the end for some Q&A, and I have a bunch of questions here as well. So I will turn it over to you, Florence.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. And hello, everyone. I am happy to be speaking with you today, even though I'm sorry I can't see your faces, but I welcome the opportunity to help you get to know St. Lawrence a little bit and to potentially challenge you in your thinking about how you look at a school you've never heard of and how it might fall into your own background. So I'm going to start today by telling you a little bit about myself and then showing you a very quick video so that you get a little bit of a sense of what we look like and where we're located. Because Canton, New York is 20 miles, 20 minutes from the Canadian border. So we are in the northernmost part of New York. And when people talk about upstate, that is about 2 hours south of me. So upstate is not north. Upstate is the middle because it's upstate from New York City, but New York's a big place. We take full advantage of our location. It's a small town, but we're pretty close to the capital of Canada. So you have big city opportunities less than an hour away, and you're going to go to school on a regular basis here in a small town where your campus is the center of what you do. So as I tell you about St. Lawrence, I will first share with you that this is my 4th year here in Canton. I have been doing admissions my whole career. I actually went to a high school that had tour guides and had an admission program, and I fell in love with admissions work in my sophomore year of high school, believe it or not. Nobody does admissions by choice from 10th grade, except for me, apparently. So I worked in the admissions office as a work study student when I went to college. I chose liberal arts experience as a student and have really lived it ever since. I believe so deeply in what this type of school can offer, and you'll certainly see other ones as well that offer a similar experience, but it can be a life-changing one in all the right ways. Not because there's something the matter with your life today, but because you don't even dream sometimes of how amazing college can be. So let me show you the video first, and then we shall talk a little bit about some of the things that make St. Lawrence different from other schools that you might consider.
Hey, Florence, we can't hear anything on our end. When you
No sound at all?
Nope, no sound. When you share it, go to share your screen. It has a little checkbox on the bottom left and it says share with sound.
Yeah, it was checked. Hold on, let me see.
Okay.
Let me see if it must have come off when. Now I can't see it at all. Thank you for telling me. Let me get rid of technical difficulty here.
That's okay. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
she was talking.
yeah.
All right, let's
Yeah,
try
we're-
that one more time.
Yeah, perfect.
Now speak immediately if you're not hearing.
Hi, my name is Kirsten Larabee. I work in admissions and I'm a proud graduate of our class of 2020. I chose St. Lawrence because I wanted a supportive environment where I could learn more about myself and the world around me, and I was able to do just that. With support from friends, our first-year program, faculty, staff, and alumni mentors, I was encouraged to explore new perspectives, embrace different opportunities, and pursue unique experiences. Laurentians don't end up in Canton, New York by accident. We come here intentionally. You can feel the enthusiasm for being here. Some say we're in the middle of nowhere, but because there was always so much to do on and around campus, I never once felt that way. We have over 150 clubs and organizations. We host cultural festivals, speakers, a writers series, concerts, and field trips to Canada. We take advantage of our close proximity to the Adirondack Mountains by hiking during peak weekend, skiing at Whiteface Mountain, and skating on Mirror Lake in Lake Placid. The world may be our classroom, but we come together in the North Country because an education is something you do with others. Our small student-faculty ratio encourages you to develop close relationships with professors who care about your personal growth. And many times, those relationships lead to collaborative opportunities like research down the road. As you carve out your path at St. Lawrence, programs like our first-year program and Sophomore Success Initiative are there to support you. My FYP professors helped me sharpen my reading, writing, research, and presentation skills through a topic that fascinated me: spies and surveillance in the modern age. Sophomore year, I took a hands-on class in bookmaking. It was one of my favorites at St. Lawrence, especially because I was able to connect with local community members. Laurentians are passionate about St. Lawrence, even after they graduate, which explains our top-ranked alumni network. Whenever you're ready, our alumni, your professors, and our Center for Career Excellence are eager to help connect you to internships, mentorships, networking events, and research opportunities that prepare you for life after college. At St. Lawrence, we want to empower your adventures, aspirations, and achievements. Come explore with us.
So that's just a little taste of the flavor of the place. I realize that many liberal arts colleges that you see sound a lot alike. So we're going to all talk about small classes, personal attention, and a caring community. It's all true, but it doesn't help you decide if one school particularly is right for you. So let me tell you a little bit about how I help seniors approach the college process. Because if you're a senior this year, you're probably feeling a little bit of stress. And if you're a junior, you're kind of dreading part of this and excited about another part. So I would say to you that choosing a college is probably going to be the most personal decision that you've made thus far. And what I mean by personal is this is truly about how you work and how you will thrive. And I don't want you worrying too much about what colleges want from you. I want you worrying about what you want from a college. So start with 2 questions. And I think these guide the entire search. The first question is, where will you do your best work academically? And what does that look like for you? Because many of you have not had experiences yet that resemble some college experiences, but you've had others that can look a lot like a liberal arts college. So think for just a minute of what your favorite class has been in high school up to this point. You don't obviously have to share it with anybody, but what was it about that class? Now, it may have been you made your best grade there, but usually that is not the ultimate. The reason is, why did you really like it? Was it discussion-based? Was it communicative, where there was a lot of dialogue back and forth? Most people don't choose it because it was a lecture, but some people choose it because of the faculty member who was teaching it, who you just got really connected with, and you felt like you could relate to that person and you would talk to them comfortably. That is really important in the college that you choose. What kind of environment do you think you should be in to do your best work? And it doesn't mean there's only one answer, but it means that your answer should be important in this process as you figure out what kind of opportunities you want to take. Being at a liberal arts college means that we're invested in not just helping you find a major and a career, but in giving you that long range experience that helps you be flexible and change your job and your career as the world that you're going to work in is going to change. So the research skills, the flexibility, the assessment skills, the communication skills, that's an intrinsic part of every single major here. Whether you're in art, whether you're in physics, whether you're in communications or in finance, you're gonna walk out with an important skill set to use as an adult, because the liberal arts is all about that broad base. What we find at St. Lawrence is that the students who come here don't all know when they walk in the door what they want to study, but they're not undecided either. Smart students who are looking for a good college usually still have 2 or 3 possible options when they walk in as first-year students. So if you're trying to decide now what your major has to be and what your job is going to be, we're going to tell you it's fine to not stress about that right now. If you know, that's wonderful. And some people do know. I knew what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I was going to major in, but I knew what I wanted to do. But what if you don't? I'm going to say, take a deep breath and consider the fact that at St. Lawrence, over 70% of the students here do more than one thing in their 4 years. So it's a double major, or it's a major and 3 minors, or it's a double major and 1 minor. So if you've got 2 or 3 different areas that appeal to you, I suggest you find a place where you can do them all and credential yourself in all of them. Because the first job you get may not be the last job that you get, and maybe the thing that was your second major becomes your second career. So I look at your 4 years of undergrad as do everything you can to maximize your potential for success as an adult in as many different jobs and careers as you choose to hold. I also look at it as an hourglass instead of a pipeline. So to me, the pipeline is you walk in the door very narrow, you have picked one thing, you're only going to do that one thing, you're going to do it and finish college and then get a job in that one thing. 50 years ago, that might have worked better than it does today, but it's not how today's global economy works. Things are changing. Think about your technology. And when you hear about the next upgrade or how that might affect your phone, how's it going to affect your job? And these things all matter too. So you've got to keep up and you've got to change and you've got to be flexible. And if you've got an education that helps you do that, you've put yourself in a great place. So how many things can you do? My hourglass is start broad. By your sophomore year, you're going to narrow it down and commit to some things, but then you're going to open it back up and see how many amazing experiences you can add into your 4 years. So I hope you never think about this as just picking a major. That is the smallest piece of picking your academic experience. Where will you thrive? That really matters. Some of the special things that happen at St. Lawrence, I want to highlight that 80% of our graduating students have done some type of research during the course of their 4 years. About 75% have done internships, and over 60% have studied off campus. And I use that phrase because we have a strong program in New York City and one in Washington, D.C., in addition to study abroad programs in close to 30 countries. So off campus simply means not here for a semester, but think about those numbers, and over 80 and over 70 and over 60. Most students here are doing at least 2 of those, if not all 3. And I would suggest to you, that's really wonderful, because in addition to a major and a couple of minors, what if you've always dreamed of this? And what if I told you that study abroad was covered with your financial aid the same way that it is to be here? So maybe the only extra expense is your plane ticket. And we have scholarship programs for things like that. So don't limit yourself academically to what college should be. Dream big and see if that can't help you put a wonderful experience together, because I can guarantee you that you can do that at St. Lawrence. And that the second question, because I mentioned I wanted you to think about two, the second question is, once you get your academic thoughts in line, where will you make a contribution to the community? And that is not what how many clubs can you join, although most schools have hundreds. That is what's going to be significant in your life that helps you feel like you're giving to the college or giving to your group of friends or giving to the community. Because not all of college is egocentric. There are many students who have done significant community service throughout high school and want to keep doing that in college. It's not for a grade, it's not for a requirement, it's because they appreciate how they feel when they help somebody else. There are students who have been athletes since they were little kids, the 4, 5, 6-year-olds who begin in a sport, who are still competing successfully in high school, who don't want to give it up in college either. So St. Lawrence has 35 NCAA intercollegiate teams, 35, that's a lot. 2 of them are Division I, men and women's ice hockey. Several of them are multi-divisional, which it means you play against schools in all levels of the NCAA. That would be alpine skiing, cross-country skiing, squash, equestrian. So all of those are multi, and then everything else we do, including esports, which is our newest addition, are all NCAA Division III. So not scholarship ball anywhere but hockey, and yet such an important part of so many students' lives. 40% of this year's freshman class and the one before came in with the intent to compete in intercollegiate athletics. So it's a big deal at a small school, but it's usually because this is a way a student feels a part of the place. And that is the thing that you're trying to decide. Because I don't want to muddy the water and talk about when things go wrong in a college search, but the goal for you is to pick a college, stay there for 4 years, finish the degree, and graduate, right? If you transfer, usually the reasons fall into 3 categories. You didn't have the right resources financially. You didn't feel that anybody cared about you. And you never found your place/home at that school. It's not because you flunked out. That's really not the reason that people swap schools. So if you have that fear in the back of your mind, be pretty confident that if the admissions office takes you, they think you can do the work, but you gotta find your place. And if you find somebody who's committed to you, your advisor, your work study employer, your coach, and you find a place that you can do things, you're making a good choice. And odds are you're going to be happy in that place all 4 years. So do you see why those 2 questions cover so much? They really give you a taste of what you need from the college, what the college can do for you, not what the college wants. And that's what I hope you walk away from today, whether you ever invest any time in St. Lawrence again or not. I'd love that you would, but I also want you to really think about this search from your own position of strength, not from one of concern. I want to close this part by mentioning the importance of career planning through all 4 years of college, even if you don't know what your major is going to be. Because I find more and more high school students know what they want to be as a career field without necessarily knowing how many different possible major choices might get them to that point. So I think my best example is you don't have to do something called pre-med to go into the medical field. You could do public health. You could do biochemistry. There are many different ways to go into medicine. The same is true for law. No law school cares what you major in. They just care that you have a 4-year degree and a good GPA, and that you can think and present your information. So they're all looking for different things, but we're committed here at St. Lawrence to making sure that we're going to meet a student where they are in this. And if you already know what your plan ought to look like, we're going to start with you in the first semester of your freshman year in our Center for Career Excellence. We're going to help you work towards it. One of the distinguishing things about St. Lawrence is that our alumni network is ranked #3 in the United States of all colleges, any size, big, small, because of the power of the way our alumni help our current students. So that is incredibly important because we want to offer you mentorships with an alum while you're a freshman or a sophomore. We want you to then connect with somebody who can help you get an internship. And then after you've had an internship, we want to make sure that you're connected into the St. Lawrence network in whatever city you choose to live in, to connect either to help you get your first job, or once you get it, to find your place in the St. Lawrence alumni community with the people who live in your same city. So we have a course called Careers 101. That's a half a credit course that you can take in on your freshman year or the first semester of your sophomore year, based on when you're ready for it, to show you how to use the technology, how to get ready for being mentored, what you need to ask of a mentor, not just what they want to do for you, and so forth. So that you walk out of that first course going, I've got this. This is not about just building a resume. This is about using all the resources that we can put to bear for you so that you can actually feel like you're really ready when you graduate. So academic life, lots of choices. Extracurricular and community feel, even more choices. And ultimately, your career plans, not just choices, but people and opportunities. That's the St. Lawrence that I love the most. And that is what I hope you will get intrigued by and do a little more research on. We have a brand new website. It is easily navigated on your phone. So you don't even have to feel like you need a laptop or much less a desktop to look at it. The website is stlawu.edu. So St. Law U, long time ago abbreviation, but that will get you to our site, which is pretty interactive and will give you all the details on the specific things that matter to you. The last thing I want to touch on is admission, scholarship, and financial aid. I want you to know that admission here is definitely competitive, but it's not ridiculous. So a smart student who has done well in 4 years of high school, who's been taking a good college prep load, can usually expect that this could be a good fit academically. The nuances of holistic admission, I'm sure people have talked to you about. You're a lot more than your GPA and your test score, and we're going to look at recommendations, and we're going to look at your own involvement outside of school, and we're going to let you tell the story of who you are and how you might fit into the St. Lawrence community. And then we're going to work to see if we can help you achieve it, if this looks like a school that appeals to you. So common application or our own application, you choose. We don't do early action for a reason. We do early decision because a lot of students find this is what they want, and they actually commit to one school if they have this opportunity. So we run early decision from Monday, the 1st of November, till the end of January. And it's called continual review, which means you could decide after Christmas that this is really the one for you and apply early decision over your Christmas holidays or in the middle of January, not just in November. So we assume students are all working on different timetables, and some people need a little more time. They're not ready at the end of October to make a commitment, but they might be in a couple of months. So we have that program running for the next 3 months. And then our regular decision deadline is the 1st of February. So that's when the rest of the process will happen. About 1/3 of our class comes in early decision, 2/3 through regular decision. Scholarship and financial aid, 2 different programs, and both very important to every student that's enrolling here. On the scholarship side, so not looking at your family financial situation at all, just looking at your achievements, we have 2 different types of scholarship. We have the academic achievement where we will automatically consider you, but we also have some specialty scholarships that you will find on our website that might ask for a little bit more information from you, a resume, maybe a short answer essay, but there are specialty scholarships in leadership, in community service, in business, in the Presidential Diversity Scholarship looks at activists and contributions that people have made to make their own school, community, wherever, a better place. Challenging a problem and finding a solution falls into that category. So lots of different ways that you could be recognized with a scholarship. But a scholarship's only one piece of the puzzle for most of our families. About 60% receive need-based aid. So that means you file the FAFSA, which I'm sure most of you have at least been told to start, even if you haven't started it yet, since it was open on the 1st of October. We're going to tell you get us on your list by the time you apply by the 1st of February. So put St. Lawrence's code in there. We will get your results. And then we will look at your individual circumstances past a scholarship to see what else are you eligible to receive. Some of that is St. Lawrence money, just grant money offered to you that it's just like a scholarship, but it's because you have additional need. Some of it is state or federal. So you may have heard of, obviously you've probably heard of Pell Grants, but if you live in New York, you might be aware of the TAP program, which is a New York program. If you live in Vermont, you have a program through an organization called VSAC, which is a grant from the state of Vermont. And the beautiful thing about that is that you can take it to a college outside of Vermont. Whereas the New York TAP program, you have to go to college in New York to get it. So state money, federal money, work study, being student loans, all a part of the package to help make it feasible for your family so that you have the choice. So when you finish, you want an academic fit, you want a social fit, and you want a financial fit. And if you can put all of that together in the college that you choose, I'm going to tell you right now, you have had a great college search and you've set yourself up for a lot of success in your college years. So maybe I'll stop there and see what else you have questions about and how I can be of use to all of you at this point.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Yeah, I really love the hourglass analogy. We've talked, a lot of our students, and you know this, there's been a lot of talk about, the liberal arts education and the value of it. And some kids are saying, my parents want me to just do this, start with this narrow focus and you're going to get a job. And that's all true. But I like the way St. Lawrence combines the two. So there's a liberal arts education. You learn, we call them essential skills here at CFES, but you were talking about critical thinking, communication skills. A lot of our employers, our partners like Southwest Airlines, tell us, we can teach a graduate the job here, but we can't teach them these other skills like critical thinking that they get at a liberal arts college like St. Lawrence. So I think it's actually switching back a little bit, and people are realizing the value of these skills. Plus, like you're saying, you also have, it's not like you're just saying, come here and let's get a liberal arts education and good luck. You got a career planning center that's real. It sounds fantastic. And
pretty impressive.
The alumni network. I mean, that it's crucial to have that. A lot of places just don't.
And every parent of a kid in a liberal arts college expects them to get out and get a job too. It's just that you had a different strategy of what your education looked like to still get a job, and please don't come home and live with your mom anymore. So you may have to, but the goal is get a good education and you can do so many things, and it's not just one field.
Yeah, no, for sure. Tell us a little bit more too about cost. I know, a lot of our students will in upstate New York and everywhere really, they'll look at a university and they'll be sticker shock. They'll say, oh my God, it's $40,000 to $70,000 a year. There's no way. But in reality, actual cost of attendance, much lower, given, a lot of the reasons and support that you just offered. And I think sometimes students think, well, when I get out, like, what am I going to owe? That's always a number. That I think St. Lawrence, it's much lower than people think. Like they see the initial cost and they don't realize how much is available. So if you could just talk a little bit more about that, if you're a prospective student thinking, I want to go there, but I think it's too much. And,
right.
Yeah.
I will absolutely start with the sticker shock piece because we're expensive and it freaks everybody out. The tuition fees, room and board this year is $75,500. So it sounds insurmountable for anybody but the most wealthy. And yet the price after scholarship and aid is often Well, this year, the average aid award was over 43,000 of that 75. So that's the middle person who is in a middle income. So for us, middle income to get aid is in the $110,000 to $140,000 range. Two parents working hard, living an okay middle-class life and feeling good about it, but not able to write a check for a college that costs what we do. So those families still get aid in an expensive school. It's not just a limited number of families or a very low income who gets aid. Those are the people who get the most aid. But many family scenarios and many families with good incomes still qualify for good scholarship and or good need-based aid. So I really don't think you can assume from the sticker price what your family's going to pay, but I will tell you, I'm sure you've been made aware of need price calculators. You can estimate it now. You can see what your family might actually have to pay before you ever apply. And, you know, I forgot to tell you one of the things I'm most excited about this year. We got rid of our application fee for admission this year for the first time for all students. I am well aware that fee waivers have been around for a long time and we've always accepted them, but I also feel like there's some burden attached to having to track down the right people to fill out the form. If you can find the form, if you know which form to send for a fee waiver. So I just got rid of the entire fee process. You can apply to St. Lawrence without it costing you a penny. You can apply for aid without it costing you a penny. You can get an offer and see what the bottom line for your family looks like, and then you decide if this is a choice or not. But no, you shouldn't spend any money on sending information to us. We're happy to have a self-reported test score if you took it, but we've been test optional for 16 years. But we don't care if you took the ACT or the SAT, but we don't want you to spend $25 to have your score sent. Go onto your own account, screenshot your results, make sure you screenshot it with your name showing, email them to us. So I don't want there to be a single financial burden in the way of you looking at a good college and trying to figure out if it could be right for you. I want you to do the process and consider that we will help you figure it out, and then we will make you an aid award, and then you know whether you can do this or not.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that really eliminates some, well, you know, what are serious barriers for some people. You know,
It is the barriers that we were after. How many of those can we take down?
Yeah. I was talking with a student earlier about St. Lawrence, and we have a number of students from rural areas,
Yes.
New York to El Paso, to outside of El Paso to all
Right.
over. And one of the questions of some of the students that live in rural areas are they're saying, look, I've been in this area without a lot of diversity my entire life. I'd really like to experience some diversity. So the thought is I'll go to NYU, I'll go to BU, I'll go, you know, schools right in metropolitan areas. The reality is St. Lawrence is quite diverse as an undergraduate population. If you could talk a little bit about that and what a student will be able to experience who might be coming from a rural area.
Absolutely. First of all, we're rural, so we understand that need to go to the city. We too agree that there are times in all of our lives when we need that urban experience and we need to feel the bustle and the difference of where we live. But I also remind you that you're going to live a lot of Tuesdays and Wednesdays in a place. So you want to make sure that you like it on those days too, not just for the special events that come from living in a great big sprawling metropolitan area. So when you look at our student body, the first thing you'll see is that students apply here from 48 states and 130 countries. So most of you probably never thought about that as being a part of diversity, but it is, because when we enroll students from 30 different states and 30 different countries, and we end up with a student body that represents 40 plus countries, these are people whose experiences in life might be very different from your experience. And so that is one type of diversity. Surely ethnic and racial diversity is a second one. And I think you will find that we will never stop working on this, but we tend to see about 10% of our class being international students of color, and 12 to 14, 15% being domestic students of color. So you end up with a population that's about 20%, more than that, more like 22 to 25% different ethnic backgrounds, which brings richness to an academic and a social experience, because there are places for specialty interests to celebrate their cultures, and there are places to learn something about one you've never been exposed to before. So that's the second kind of diversity. The third type for me is socioeconomic. We bring in roughly 20% of the student body each year who are Pell eligible, so living in a financial situation where they need excessive aid in order to have a college experience. And then we have a population that is very wealthy, and most people are somewhere in the middle getting aid from St. Lawrence. So that's the third type of diversity. And I think the last one, and this often does affect a rural student more than anyone else, there's diversity of thought and politics. And you need to consider that the way that you are raised might be different from somebody else's, and both of you have a legitimate place in a liberal arts classroom. It's not all skewed liberal, it's not all conservative, it's not all religious, it's not by any means, atheist, but everybody's position when you bring in people from this many backgrounds is going to be different intellectually too. And the goal of your education is to learn from it, not to be shut down by it or to be scared of it. So I think, John, I'd point to all of those as ways that St. Lawrence, even in a little town, is a very diverse experience. We're not all from up here. We're not all, I think you can hear that from my accent maybe. I'm not from New York. Only a third of our students are from New York. So there's a lot of people coming here who don't know a soul, who don't have immediate expectations that everybody's just like them, but you can find your people. And so I think it balances on both sides. A lot of people like you, a lot of people different from you. Get to know them all.
That's well said. I had a couple questions about social life, and I was thinking myself, when I talk to people my own age, younger, and I say, hey, where'd you go to? They'll ask where they went to college, and I'll say, what'd you like about it? And I don't often get the response that, yeah, I had this biochem class that I just loved. It made my whole experience. It's usually I had friends, we went out, it was social. I mean, I think we often forget, kid who's 18 is that obviously you want to have good friends and a good time, as well as working on academics, is kind of all these pieces together. But talk a little bit about the social scene there. And, you've got a lot of events going on. I know you bring a lot of amazing speakers. There's, parties, there's all kinds of events. There's a lot of good options for kids to enjoy themselves. Just talk a little about that, if you would.
Sure. I think that I have always believed that you as students already know what kind of social life you want before you ever set foot on a campus. Some of you have already started building in your high schools the kind of social climate that you want. So for some people, college means wild parties with alcohol. I think you will find some of those. For other people, college means I want a social life where I don't have to deal with anybody drinking at all, and I don't want that experience to mess with mine, but I still want to be social. We got that option for you. Your social life in college is two different types of things. One of them is doing stuff you like with people you enjoy, and one of them is literal events that make you happy because they're celebratory and you need something to do. And then there's that third category that is, what do you do when you're bored, and how do people keep you entertained? And so in a small town, most of the activities for our students happen on our own campus. And we will take people to other things, but we bring in the music, we bring in bands, we bring in a big stage and set it up with a concert. We're responsible for some of this because you might not find it in town. So your social life will be created by the student government of the campus, who have a budget of about $800,000 a year to decide what kind of entertainment outside of the classroom, recreation and fun people want at St. Lawrence. So the students have a say in how the money is allocated to clubs and how it's allocated to events. And so there's a lot of different opinions and people jockeying for a piece of that financial pie. So lots of different stuff happens here. It's not all one way. Now, do you want Greek life? We've got it, but it's not big. Do you need Greek life? Not unless you want it. So you will have a social life without it. If you are looking for, multicultural experiences for your social life, you'll see all holidays celebrated here, not just traditional Western ones. You'll see such a mix. What's one of the most fun things people do at St. Lawrence? The weather's cold here a lot, and we do ice hockey. And you get 4,500 people in our ice arena with a Division I team that won the ECAC Conference Championship last year. It starts your weekend by having, and who's in the ECAC? Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Brown, great schools with great sports who we're right there with them. So hockey actually does play a role. Even if you're just a spectator, you're going to have a lot of fun in there showing your school spirit and cheering for your team. So social, sometimes you need to leave town and go find something bigger or go home with a friend and get out of campus. But most of the time you're going to stay right here. It can't be suitcase. Nobody lives close enough for people to go home very often. So you're going to find it here. And one of the other things that people do is really take advantage of the outdoors because the Adirondacks are gorgeous. The outing club is our biggest club on campus, and they take everybody. So if you have never hiked or you have never ice skated or you have never canoed or kayaked, they're going to show you how. And we have the equipment where you can just sign it out and learn something. So don't be afraid if you don't know winter sports. We're just going to tell you you need a good coat and some boots, and we will show you everything else you need to know. And that's a big part of life up here in the North Country.
Yeah, that's good. I also think I went to UMass Amherst, and it was kind of a 5-college system that was right around. I mean, you got 4 colleges real close by.
We do.
Kids
Within
interact.
10 miles.
Yeah, go to different colleges, experience that. I mean, I think that's a big piece, because there's not too many clusters like that around.
And I think the 2 little towns that are connected with the 4 colleges appreciate their college student population. So they're doing things for college students as well, because with the four colleges, we usually have 12, 13,000 college students in the area for 10 months of the year, right? So lots of places in town want the college students to be a part of their world too, not just to take your money, but also to be involved. And maybe you work, maybe you volunteer, maybe you go to a festival, but you don't lose any of that just by being in a small town.
Yeah, and I was looking at a list here earlier of all the rankings, and academically, obviously, it's a top 50 caliber school, but you've got best dorms, best food. I mean, you're ranked in all these categories. Those things matter. I mean, we take kids on tours, and they're like, how's the food here? What can I eat? Where am I living? What's my dorm like? And it just seems like you've done a really good job at kind of mastering each of the really the key areas that students care about most.
Right. And I think,
What's that?
I was just going to say, sometimes people forget that you got to live here every single day. Nobody goes to McDonald's every single day. Nobody eats pizza or mac and cheese every single day. You need a little more variety than that so you're not bored with the food. You also need to know that everybody lives here all 4 years. We really have very few students who live off campus at any point. So we've got all the types of housing you would expect, because we need you as a 17, 18-year-old first year and as a 21, 22-year-old senior to feel like you've got good housing choices. So food choices, housing choices, and life. You're living here. You're not just going to class. So it all needs to come together.
Yeah, the 4-year piece is actually a lot of schools, they move off junior year. That's great that they're all for. Just keeping an eye on time, a couple quick questions. One student, simply, what are your best majors? What do you know?
I will say best in terms of volume rather than in terms of better than another program, because what you probably need to remember is that in a nationally known liberal arts college, we don't have any bad majors. So business in the liberal arts is biology, environmental, government, English. Those would probably be the top ones every year in terms of how students' interests tend to pull them towards a bigger program on our campus, which means we might graduate, 25 instead of a small program, which might only graduate 5 majors that year. But the thing about the small majors, and I just say this because it doesn't matter what you want to study today, you might fall for something else on the side when you're in college. If you like a faculty member that you had a course with in the first year or so, go take another course with that faculty member, get to know their area. And this is how people pick up women's studies or Asian culture or something extra. It may not be your career field, but it might be something that you really get into academically and challenge yourself with because you have a great relationship with the instructor. So keep all those choices open, big ones and little ones.
Nice. All right, 2 quick ones. I'll let you take them consecutively. Do you have any famous alums, and what type of grades would I need to have a shot at getting in?
Probably not a famous alum that you would know by name. I think there are plenty of really successful people who are St. Lawrence alums, but I don't think the list would be mega popular or somebody with 7 million Instagram followers.
Yeah.
But I will remind you that 94% in the pandemic and normally 96% of our students are employed within 6 months of graduation. So they're all going to do something successful. They just may not be famous.
Yeah.
What was the second question?
Basically just trying to get a grip on
Grades.
like what kind of grades do I roughly need to have a shot?
Yes. In New York, transcripts are based on a 100-point scale. So I'm going to give you a range around that 100-point scale, and then we can put it on a 4-point or a letter grade if that helps you. Average GPA of the entering students from high school is usually about a 91. So on a 100-point scale, 50% are going to come in above that 91 and 50% are going to come in below that 91, and they're probably not much lower than an 85, 86. So what we're going to look at is, what does your school offer in terms of advanced study, and did you take it? Do you have the option of dual enrollment in a community college or in a 4-year college, and did you take advantage of it? How did you use your academic experience, and then what type of grades did you make? Because we will fall into the category of, I'd rather see you take the hard stuff and not have the perfect grades than to have you have a 99 in all the easiest courses that your school teaches. So I care more about you taking the harder stuff that makes you ready to succeed here than in just having the highest GPA because you found a level of courses that you could do well in. Take the good stuff. You will never regret it.
Yeah, I actually was looking at a list earlier of alums, and you're right, they're not names that like famous, like,
They're not famous.
Boy, there's a lot of successful heads of companies, poet laureates,
Yep.
government. It's pretty impressive.
Right,
Diverse,
but when
too.
you're a teenager and you want to know the name, probably not that kind of list.
Yeah. And then let me ask you one last one. One of the things that we've struggled with, a lot of the students, we have a really good percentage of students that go off to college that we work with, it's successful that way. And then when they get there, we were a little bit concerned about how they were doing because, we kind of got them there, and then
Right.
there's a lot of resources and individuals waiting at St. Lawrence to help students when they get
Yes.
there. But what do you think that like the first year experience sounds intriguing, and we've just had a lot of students say, what I guess I'd ask it this way: what is it about St. Lawrence and maybe that first year experience that would help a student get to that next year? Because as you know, the dropout rate, once
Yes.
you get them to junior year, it's all good. But a lot of students drop out before that. What is it about St. Lawrence, and what do you do that can kind of keep a student engaged and keep them there?
A couple of things. First, let's put some math on it. 90 to 92% of the freshmen return as sophomores. So we're not losing a big cohort to begin with. And one of the reasons for that, I think, and we usually graduate around 80% in 4 years, a little bit higher than that if you go to 5 or 6. So we're not losing a large number ever. We are getting people in who are then either assisted or empowered, depending on how you look at it, to take advantage of the right stuff, graduate on time, and get moving. The first year program is really important there because it is a living learning community, which means that when you sign up for your first year program course, and it's not about your major, it's about picking a course that sounds exciting to you. So you heard in the video, Kirsten talked about one that was spies, and there's one that's about baseball, and there are all kinds of interesting things more than it's about major. And it's only one of the 4 courses you take, but you live with all the people in that course. So your faculty member who teaches it is your advisor. Your group of 16 or 17 people are living together and taking that one course together because you all have an interest in that one thing. So we've made it not that we're telling you who your friends are, but we're telling you you have something in common with this group of people, and you're going to live with them and get to know them and study with them. So the support piece of having a group of people with a common interest is really important to us. All kinds of academic services and support service, whether you are a really smart kid and you're stressing because you're afraid you're going to make a B+, or whether you're a student with a learning difference and you think I've got to have some accommodations to do my best work. All of that is here, and it's really stigma free. The point is you're supposed to be taking care of yourself to do your best work, right? So we need to know what you need, and then we're going to help you. So and it's warm and it's friendly and it's not snobby and it's not elitist. So it's totally okay to be a freshman and knock timidly on somebody's door. And they're going to say, come in. What can we do? How can we help you? Sit down. Tell us about what's going on. So it's not hard. It sounds worse before you get to college than it does when you get there. In a friendly place, people care about each other. Faculty teach here because they really get to teach. They don't spend all their time doing research. Staff work here because it's a community. We like the people. We like who we work with, and we like the students we bring in. And everybody else looks at us and says, we love this freshman class. And that's nice. And as for the student, what it says is, we got you. So you can walk on that tightrope if you want to, because there's a really strong net underneath you. You're not going to crash. But I think that's why they come back, because no matter how confident you are in your academic ability, you still got to transition into a new place. My freshman class of 600 people came from 425 high schools. Very few people know people here. So you got to make that all start in your first year, and we're committed to helping let you see where the opportunity's in. But I guess my last piece of advice for any student going to college next year is you have to leave your residence hall room to make this work. Do not sit in your room and wait for somebody to come get you. Your job is to get to know the place and to know the people, faculty, staff, and the rest of the students, and find the things you like and the people that you want to be with, but you have to start it. And everybody in just about every place I've ever worked is more than willing to have you come in, but you've got to start. So as long as you're willing to take that first step, you can have a great college experience, and you can pick a place where everybody's going to stay put. And that's kind of our goal.
That's a great place to end it. I think, St. Lawrence has such a great reputation as it just by itself, but to hear you talk about all the other things, especially the latter part about, it being a really caring place and a friendly place. I mean, that matters. That makes a huge difference. Matter. You have all the other stuff, there's no question, but just right. I think people don't fully understand the atmosphere there and how warm and caring it is. And we would encourage, that's why we're doing the virtual visit today, but we would certainly love to get as many kids on the campus as possible, because you can't get that feel what it's really like till you're on whatever campus it is you think you like. So we'll definitely bring some students.
Well, I was going to say, we knock wood, have been back to doing visits the way that we try to do them. So whether it is leading up to cold or whether it's right after winter, we are open for business and happy to see people come check it out, because you can feel what I'm talking about here. You can see it, you can feel it, but you can't necessarily get it from a brochure or a website. So come on over. Love to have any and all of you.
Yeah, for sure. We appreciate it. Yeah, and if they have any questions, send them your way and your staff.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so we really, really appreciate you taking the time.
Happy to do it. Love to talk to anybody that has another question after this. So if you can share my email address, I'll take any student reaching out and saying, hey, I heard your presentation. Now I want to know about this. Go for it.
Okay, yeah, we
Happy to
appreciate
do it.
Yeah, and we'll share. It's recorded. We'll share with all our schools across the country. And I know there's some intrigue from a little further away. They kind of know the St. Lawrence name, but would love to know more about it. And we'll
Yeah.
show them this, and we'll have them reach out. So
Perfect.
thank you again so much. We really appreciate it.
Happy to do it. Y'all have a great day.
Okay, you too. Thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah.